Hi everybody, today I have a use and care video on baking style dish pots that I make. Lidded casseroles, lasagna type pan kind of thing, roaster, bread baker, and we often refer to these as dip bakers. A lot of people do artichoke dip or some kind of heated dip. They just need to warm everything up. But you can cook in these too. Your imagination is your limitation basically. Other than doing bread in here, I'll make the bread dough, let it rise in here, do my different knockdowns and whatever process I want to do, and then this can go in the oven and bake it into that shape if you want. We also put we'd use these for a side dish like vegetables or whatever if we're using a microwave, and of course you can serve out of them. So just cover a few things. One would be actually using them to cook in. Next would be actually serving out of them and using them that way, and then finally cleanup. So, and I have this wooden spoon here to simulate some things that I would try to avoid doing. We'll get to that in a few minutes. So covered dish, and you could use your aluminum foil or covering, whatever you need to use here for your lasagna or baker pan. We've got our handles here. Okay, so actually using them in the oven, number one, highly suggest that there is no frozen food that's put in here and then put into a 350-degree oven. Handmade ceramic work doesn't like tremendous thermal shock. So if you take something that's frozen and put it into 350, that's kind of extreme temperature change right there. Likewise, when you take it out of the oven, I would highly suggest that you use some kind of a hot pad holder or something like that, and to keep the pan separated from a cold countertop, especially if this is like stone or concrete, something like that. But even wood or a laminate countertop, you could damage your countertop, but also the 350-degree pan going onto a 70-degree or cooler kitchen countertop, that can provide or cause some cracking and or some damage to the pot. So protect the countertop, protect the pot. When you are cooking and you go to put this in the oven, don't use the bottom element or the bottom rack and or the top rack. Try to be in the middle somewhere. The reason for that, again, if you didn't know this already, that your heating element, handmade ceramic work, this kind of work, is never meant to be flame proof. So you can't put it on directly on a stovetop right next to an element. You wouldn't want the broiler element to be right here to brown up something. And you don't want that heating element on the bottom of the oven to be right close to your ceramic vessel. Too much direct heat here, not the same heat on this side, too much change or difference in temperature there. But middle of the oven, totally fine. So you go to serve your dishes, and you've got your lasagna in here, or you have your casserole in here, or whatever you're serving on your dish. I would highly suggest using wood or silicone, something like that. A metal piece isn't necessarily going to scratch the glaze, but it depends on the person using it. I never know how to say this without being possibly insulting, but I don't mean it that way. We have people that kind of just dig on things. And if I need to scratch off something that is baked on, cooked on, burned on, whatever, probably better to soak that later on when this is cooled down and clean that off that way. But just scratching at it with a wooden cooking utensil, or I'm sorry, metal cooking utensil, not going to be a good idea for your pan. We often have things that are in here that are sticky. So let's imagine this is a big macaroni and cheese casserole, something like that. And I take it out and some of it's stuck to the spoon. I go to put it on my plate. There's some left on here. I always cringe when I see people kind of go, and I'll over exaggerate this, but whack, whack, whack to clean it off. And even some gentle little ding, ding, dings. Imagine the tool that you're using being a hammer. Clay, ceramic pieces, they don't like being banged around. Even plastic and stainless steel bowls, they don't like it either. You can chip plastic, you can dent stainless steel bowls. So have another spatula to clean this off, or maybe it doesn't need to be completely clean to go back and be used again, completely cleaned off. Or use the clean fork or spoon that you have for your own plate, put your food on your plate, and then put this back over here. It'll make the pot last longer. That's the only reason I'm saying it. Do whatever you want to do at your house, but that'll help these pots last longer. Finally, when it comes to do cleanup, whether you are lucky enough to have a dishwasher and you're not the dishwasher with your hands, or you are washing by hand, they both have their challenges. And I have some suggestions again. I'm not trying to tell you how to live your life, but in the dishwasher itself, these pots are irregular shapes, so it's okay to put those in there to clean them. I love to do that myself as well. I like to get every single little thing clean. And you know, if I got a little bit of a sauce up in here and it's too hard to get with a brush or a sponge in my own sink, and I just want to send it through the dishwasher so it just blasts everything, it's totally fine. What you want to avoid is where you have pots that are touching each other like that, and you had, let's just say you had to stack it that way to get it to fit in the dishwasher. That's a 3-hour cycle, 2.5, 3-hour cycles. Every time that spray wand comes around, it's clank, 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 clank. So every time this hits that, and just imagine a hammer going ding, ding, ding. So you want to avoid that. Whether they're made by me or another potter, or you're buying some stuff in one of those big box stores, it's all clay, and it all doesn't like being banged around. I guess the downer is you're not going to be able to put as much stuff in there, but the upside is you don't have to hand wash it, and you can possibly get hotter water in there. Now, regarding water, we all have different water qualities. So if your water isn't treated or you don't know what its alkalinity is, that can affect the glaze surface over time. We're talking 10, 15, 20 years, depending on what the situation is. Everybody's water is different. And then the cleaners that they use are also different. So I just use Dawn dish soap in the sink. Works out just great. And then I use the pods or whatever they are for the dishwasher that the manufacturer suggests. But you know, pots will be affected by that over time, depending on the situation. Okay, and then hand washing. The challenge there is just, it's no big deal with the water and or the way that you clean. But if you like to soak things in the sink and you make a giant stack of things and they're all jumbled like that, it's unavoidable a lot of times, right? But just be kind of careful about the way you pick them up and move them around. If I'm banging these lips on these or vice versa, and they just get moved around in the sink somehow and it's not kind of under control a little bit, they can end up getting damaged. And that's kind of unavoidable over time. So I hope that was helpful. Reach out to me if you have any questions, and I hope you have a great afternoon.